Здравствуйте, друзья. Это митинг Трампа, который происходил 23 мая
How is
этого года.
everybody doing today?
Как все себя чувствуют здесь? Как дела?
This is an honor, a privilege, and an absolute joy of mine to be able to speak in front of all of you today. I'd like to thank the New York Young Republican
Я
Club.
хочу поблагодарить клуб молодых республиканцев Нью-Йорка.
I'd like to thank the Black Caucus, Jude Some Fun, the Hispanic Caucus,
черную
Rodriguez,
испаноязычную
and of course our president, Gavin Wax.
нашего президента Гевина Вакса, президента
This is an
клуба молодых
incredible opportunity to
республиканцев.
speak here in front of you all
Невероятная
today.
возможность для меня
I love
говорить
the
с вами
fact that I get to
сегодня.
represent the
Мне
Bronx,
нравится тот факт, что я
show
здесь
the
представляю
resiliency,
Бронкс,
the
который
persistence, and the
представляет свою
determination
настойчивость,
that
свое упорство.
we embody every single
И
day.
мы это все должны демонстрировать
Today's going to be
каждый
an
день.
incredible day because not only is it a history being made today, but an
История
opportunity
сегодня
for the
происходит,
world to
делается
see
на наших
exactly
глазах, и мы
how the
видим,
Bronx operates and who we truly support.
и президент Трамп увидит, как работает Бронкс и как
Not only
кого
is
мы
the Bronx
поддерживаем на
red,
самом деле.
the Bronx is
Не
deep red.
только
The
Бронкс
traditions, the
красного
values, the
цвета
morals,
сейчас, он
the
глубоко
nuclear
красного
family,
цвета.
everything that we
Все, что
stand
важно
for
для нас,
is here
семья,
today.
мораль.
In
Мы
each
за
and
это
every one of
стоим, это
you,
наши семьи.
I would love
Каждый из
for
нас.
you all to give
Я бы
yourselves a round
хотел,
of
чтобы
applause for being
вы
here today.
аплодировали себе сейчас за то, что вы пришли сюда.
When I first took on this responsibility
Когда я взял на
of
себя
representing the
ответственность
club, I
представлять клуб
understood that I
молодых
would be
республиканцев,
ostracized and I
я
would be
понял,
looked
что
at
меня
differently because
отвергнут
I had a
в моей
different way of
собственной
thinking.
общине.
But I always
Но
knew
я всегда
that
знал,
whatever I thought was going to be the
то, за что
proper
я буду
thought.
бороться, будет
I'm not interested in
то, о чем я
pandering.
думал,
I'm
это
only
будет
interested in enriching
правильно.
my community and
Я
watching us
только
all progress
заинтересован в том,
forward.
чтобы моя община стала богаче, свободнее.
Today not only is a
Сегодня
moment
не
that we
только
will all
момент, когда
remember,
мы
but a
будем,
moment
который мы
that our
будем все
families
помнить,
will look about
но это
and
тот момент,
see
который
that we
нашим семьям
actually
мы будем
had the
рассказывать.
right side on our mind.
И расскажем, что мы были на правильной стороне
This is an
истории.
incredible day. I hope you
Это
all are
невероятный
proud of
день.
yourselves. We've
Все, я
done something
надеюсь, гордятся
incredible
тем, что
today.
они здесь
It's going
находятся.
to be an incredible event. Of
Это будет
course, you know,
замечательный
our
митинг.
President Donald J.
И
Trump is coming to
президент
speak.
Дональд Джей Трамп придет говорить с нами.
You know the Bronx is MAGA. You know how we
Вы
give it up.
знаете, что Бронкс это мага. Вы знаете, что у нас на уме.
Y para mi dominicano y los boricua.
И доминиканцы и пуэрториканцы.
Tú sabes que estamos aquí para todo el mundo y estamos aquí para progresar y seguir para adelante, porque nosotros somos de allá, pero creemos en Dios, patria y libertad.
Родина и свобода.
Thank you so much, and I hope
Спасибо
you
вам.
all have an incredible time.
И я надеюсь, что вы прекрасно проведете здесь время. So, who do we have here? We have Adam Solis, the gentleman who just saw. Adam, your phone is off. Your microphone is off.
How are you, Europe?
Yeah. Hi. So you were partially blocked, and we don't mind the image that you were blocked with, but this is how the rallies go. The enthusiasm was off the hook. So how was it?
It was electrifying. It was one of the most historical moments, I personally believe, in Bronx history, New York history, presidential history, when it comes to New York specifically. The fact that I was able to contribute, speak on stage, and present our president, President Donald J. Trump, was an absolute honor and obviously a privilege that not all young men get an opportunity to do. I understand how fortunate I am, and I'm grateful, and I look forward to working harder in the future.
Can you say a few words about your way to this point? What led you to this particular rally stand to represent your community?
Well, and I can go as far back as 2018. In 2018, I understood that President Trump was making some great strides and incredible changes in this country. 2020, I went ahead and I joined the New York Young Republican Club because I understood that they were interested in preserving the vital and fundamental rights of individuals and citizens of this great republic. When I understood that, I felt like it was my duty to contribute. 2 years later, I became the co-chairman of the Hispanic Caucus. 2 years after that, I became chairman of the Black Caucus. I've been working tirelessly every day to, educate my community, disseminate vital information to make sure that everyone understands how important it is of their own civic duty, their personal responsibility to their country, the society, and I guess this is the product of it. Just staying persevering, staying to staying to my guns and going forward.
Adam, thank you so much for this brief introduction of yourself, and now we know a bit more about your particular way, what brought you to this position in life. Let me ask you this: some people think that the civic duties and the joy of life is something that you cannot mix, and one is existing because to the detriment of the other side, right? So, is there a way to reconcile civic duty and the joy of life as we understand it? Everybody has their own understanding. But it seems like politics is boring, politics is for crooks, politics is for liars and thieves, and we have an ample example currently in the White House. I
Exactly.
would say, yeah, and this is what it is. The man enjoyed the ride for 50 years and has nothing to show for it except for, the numerous homes that he bought, and not a single legislation was done by him, basically, and everything was by executive order. And yesterday we saw this. We saw the press conference. Absolutely disgusting, disgusting lies upon lies upon lies. But tell us how we regular people should be incorporating our regular living day by day, what we call the everyday Americans, right? By the MSM, mainstream media, and the civic duty, because we have to keep this country at least in the shape that we received it one day when we were born or we came to this country. We have to pass it along. It does not belong to us in this sense. It's like a garden. It will overgrow us. Whatever we think, it will continue after us. So how do you look at this?
I love that analogy, because I'm actually infatuated with plants and nature, and I understand how important it is to be able to cultivate a meaningful garden. And despite whatever fruits are able to bear out of your garden, you should always understand that that's something that you want to maintain and be able to provide for the future. And that's exactly what this great republic is about. It's our responsibility to protect the specific rights and the fundamental rights that were given to us by God, right? The right to liberty, the right to freedom, the right to free speech, the right to be able to say the things that are on your mind. I understand that there are two sides to the aisle. But there are many bipartisan things that we can come together on, like life. I think that's a very important topic that we need to start discussing more openly. It's a very delicate topic, I understand, because it comes down to the rights of women and it comes down to the rights of children. But I also understand that it's important for us to start aligning our moral compass at a grander scale. I had a conversation with someone yesterday about this topic, and I said something as simple as, I believe in the 3-rule law. Abortion should not be something that's readily accessible to anyone in this country. The only thing that should be accessible should be the ability to take responsibility for yourself. And if you are a type of individual that you feel like you may not want a child, then you should be taking the necessary precautions to do so. Or with regards to freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is an incredible right that we have in today's day and age. And when you have a presidential candidate being gagged during a election year, during a prosecution, a malicious prosecution, a weaponization of justice, we are seeing that the First Amendment is obviously not being respected.
Yeah.
And there are many other ways that our lives are being affected. But if we're going to go down to the normal everyday American, we have to be able to focus on how we can start educating each other to the fundamentals that affect us in every day. So if we were to discuss something like education, right now there's a level of indoctrination that's plagued our school system. The Department of Education is currently failing all of its students. We have priorities being placed on the LGBT community being recognized within schools at age levels that children don't even understand what LGBTQ means. Yet it's being pushed upon. This type of curriculum is being given to these students, and they're being indoctrinated, unfortunately. I said last week during an interview that I see that every single college-educated individual right now, let's say anyone who's graduated in the past 5 to 6 years, are extremely indoctrinated. They have been trained and primed to hate this country. Meanwhile, they live in this country, they're enjoying the fruits of their labor, and they got an incredible education because of this country. but they don't seem to enjoy or respect the country that they live in. And if we want to really start making a change and disseminating some vital information, we got to start talking about the stuff that affects us, like education, or like taxes, or policies on tips. I think Donald Trump mentioned something about if he becomes president, when he becomes president, that he's going to eliminate all taxes on tips. That's an easy fix. It's something fundamentally, morally good. It's good for people to be able to earn a gift that they receive through their hard work, and it shouldn't be taxed, because obviously we are extremely taxed in today's day and age.
No, absolutely. I agree with you wholeheartedly. And of course, tips is a powerful instrument to kind of underscore what is appreciated between people, and people who are rude, people who are untidy, say, speaking of the service industries, or do just bad performance, they do not deserve a tip. And of course, New York is a great example for this branch of financial incentive. Because I say people who are the biggest optimists, whatever they think of my words, are street musicians. They grab the guitar, they grab their flute, and they go in the corner and they play the music. What is the guarantee that they get? What guarantee they get that they will not come home empty-handed?
Absolutely.
Good. I mean, average day is $200. That's all in this man's or woman's power to be good and play good music, make people enjoy after a long day. Nothing sounds better than like Yesterday by the Beatles in somewhere in the area of Fifth Avenue as you walk to the Port Authority. I haven't been in this area for a while because I mean it's scary to go to New York. By the way, from Brooklyn even.
Yeah, it's being destroyed right now, especially by the migrant crisis. We didn't have as much crime as we had before this migrant crisis, unfortunately. And I'm very proud of the Republican mayor, Mayor Eric Adams, because apparently he's becoming a Republican. He's been interested in eliminating some of the sanctuary laws that are affecting.
He used to be a Republican when he started, but then he kind of went political.
Correct.
Yeah.
So our Republican mayor, Eric Adams, is essentially starting to decide to eliminate these laws. And it's obviously because it's causing a big burden on our city. We have a lot of individuals in this city who've been here for a long time, long life, lifelong, New York natives, and they're suffering. And they're not only suffering due to the infrastructure or lack of resources, but now they're suffering because there's an influx of crime that's affecting them. And these illegal migrants are taking advantage of that system and taking advantage of the lack of accountability and the incompetence. I find it so interesting that the New York judicial system took all of its resources to go ahead and prosecute Donald Trump, but they won't dare prosecute some of these migrants that are causing harm and murdering and naming people in broad daylight. I don't really understand, but I think there's gonna, the day of reckoning is gonna come. I think it's along the lines of November 6th, and when that day does come, I think we're gonna see a pivotal change just on policy, on every single facet that you can think of. Just because we are in a pivotal moment. No one in New York City appreciates the leadership that we currently have. No one respects the level of incompetence that's being displayed, and it's unfortunate. You mentioned something about music. Music has been a pivotal part of New York City since the test of time, since the beginning of time. My grandmother came here in 1930, I believe it was, and she used to tell me that, she tells me, because she's still with us, she's 98 years old. She tells me that, she used to walk around the street and people would play the saxophone, and people would play bunches of instruments and do exactly what we were just discussing, receiving tips for their good nature and their talent.
Yeah.
And to be able to continue that and see that thrive within our city so many years, almost 100 years after, is pretty incredible. And I think that's something that we need to start getting back to, is the core fundamental parts of our city, the core fundamental parts of this country, and returning back to this illustrious republic that we've always been.
Oh, absolutely. I just maybe my viewers, people who watch my program on YouTube, they are kind of tired of me talking about this. But a few months ago, I was in Spain, and wherever I went, the most beautiful little places that from art history books, you know, all the cathedrals, all the little churches, all the wonderful frescoes and altar pieces, etc., etc. And we are interested in art, my wife and I, so we travel there. And when I talk to people, they're asking me, "Where are you from?" I say, "I'm from Brooklyn, New York." New York, they say. Wow, we want. What are you doing in a place like this? I say, "What do you mean?" Place like this. We play from your place to our Metropolitan Museum is like that's the way. You are the center of those masterpieces. This is where it was created. They say no, 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 no. New York. They disagreed with me. All of them. They all want to go to New York. I'd say from younger people to middle-aged people, they believe that New York is the miracle on earth. If I haven't heard it from somebody, I wouldn't believe it. I just heard it from people's personally.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
what we have here, I say, listen, I say, don't rush. Give a couple of years. Give us a couple of months. We'll straighten it out. Then you come. So we settled on this.
Yeah, that's right. Right
The-
now, I have many people from my community, specifically from the Dominican Republic, that they're not interested in coming to New York right now. New York has its issues, and it's always been illustrious, right? It's always been the sought out city, like you said, the miracle of the world, the
yeah.
greatest city on earth. But there are people right now that prefer to be on a farm with their cows and their agriculture and the sun in their hut or their cabin, just relaxing. Because
Sometimes I want to be there too. Just
compared to what the city currently is right now, that's a dream come true.
no. Listen, the politics of New York as a state right now is to turn it into the abortion capital of the world.
Yeah,
Everybody else can leave, and our governor just very plain about it. She
correct.
says, "Listen, you don't like it. We can't use you here. You can go wherever you want, but we're gonna see if you where you hang your paintings, as they say. You know, so we can double tax you if you move to Florida."
Yeah,
They think that like they tax people here, and then they go and tell us, "Look what we do with your taxes. We give it to anybody, but we take it from you only."
and it's so unfortunate because I think America is the only country that taxes its citizens on income, purchase, property, and then once they collect all that funding, they send it to another country.
That is a big, huge factor. I can raise you one. I can tell you that some countries, like Latin American countries, and say all the stances they call them in America, and Russia too, until recently, and former Soviet republics, they don't need to build their own industries. They live on remittance. They exist on remittance. They send their own people to here, just as a lot of people from Latin America come to the states, and they don't need to build a government that would make sense, the economy that would make sense. They know of the blood relations between people, because we love our elders. We're going to send them the money. We're going to work hard. We're going to send it to our families, and. Therefore, those countries, they keep hating America, and they keep existing on like parasites, I must say, on the capitalist countries, because this is where the treasure is created. Let's
Correct.
face it, they don't create treasure. They either sell their natural resources, like Russia does, without building something for their own people. They lived well when they built what they call middle class, who lived on account of the high oil prices in the first decade of the 21st century. And people got a taste. They bought a house over there, and in Mexico, some Russians live in Mexico too, but also in say Greece or Turkey. And they traveled and they saw the world, and they kind of felt like citizens of the world. And we're about to take the next step and get a good education. But suddenly it all ended like this, and a lot of people left. A lot of people are left with nothing. And a lot of intelligent people left Russia, and they're watching this program as well. I was surprised that Russia, after I have like 45% American viewers, Russian speaking on my channel, and about 17% are from Russia. They're like and it's interesting because they cannot learn what they hear from here in Russian. They cannot get anywhere else, because in Russia it's all Putin propaganda, and in other places they talk and talk and talk, and they don't try to show the way to have some practical ideas, what to do, so to speak.
Absolutely.
So what do you think? What's the mood? Because our people here in Shipshead Bay in particular, this is who I feel. I feel. Sometimes I feel some, but
Yes.
I see them in 3D. What do they think about the idea of retribution, or plainly said, someone should be punished for what we went through, starting from 2020 on? Because nobody got punished for the riots of BLM, for the COVID, for mishandling of George Floyd's incident, for a lot of things that they require. Like, I love when bold people on TV talk about splitting hair, but it's the thing that we need to get into. And I think that President Trump hinted that there will be retribution. He said it will be my success, of course, and our common success. But I don't mind if some people would be held responsible. What do you think?
I wouldn't mind either. And I think what's most important is that if we were to go back all the way up until, let's say, what do you want to start with COVID?
Let's do COVID.
There's only one person responsible, Dr. Fauci. I remember seeing footage of people protesting Dr. Fauci's involvement and gain of function research of the AIDS virus.
Yeah.
And I don't know how he was able to maintain his stance within the NIH or even become a leader of it, but I do believe Dr. Fauci needs to be held accountable. He had direct knowledge that the vaccines were going to cause irreparable damage. He had peer-reviewed information that showed that the vaccines killed and had a high morbidity rate. And he also received confirmation that ivermectin, a readily accessible medicine, was a great therapeutic.
People got Nobel Prize. Then these are not Nobel Prize economists who said that they support Joe Biden. Real Nobel Prize winners.
Correct. Real scientists.
For ivermectin.
For ivermectin, correct. And ivermectin, unfortunately, was propagandized and put in the media as if it was useless or, if anything, detrimental to your health, when ivermectin has been used for the past 70 years in this country.
Yeah.
To treat simple things. And it's unfortunate when, I remember during COVID, I myself ordered ivermectin and took it just to be safe.
Mm-hmm.
And I paid $100 for ivermectin when ivermectin cost about $5.
Yeah.
It just goes to show you how capitalistic this country is, and the fact that they were able to price gouge and raise the price on something so simple that had such high therapeutic value is unfortunate. But I do think Dr. Fauci needs to be held accountable, and I do think he will. President Trump, he delivers on all his promises, so I do think there will be some sort of retribution, but within a great amount of success.
It's very ironic that Dr. Fauci is the highest paid government employee, by the way. His salary is higher than president's salary. It's
correct.
$417,000 a year.
Yep.
And he's retired now. But they should be a strong and very. I don't know how more public you can be after all those congressional hearings with Dr. Fauci, when everything was in your face. But I guess some people are waiting for a verdict. That's what should be provided to the people. And clearly on the front page of the most loved newspapers and magazines and TV stations, you cannot force them. But whatever you wanted to know about what's been done to us, it's still available.
That's right.
The materials about the censorship, about this and that, and January 6th, everything. We know everything. Nothing is new. When
Well,
they say,
I love how you just mentioned January 6th.
I've been there.
So exactly.
I haven't been inside, but I went to Washington, D.C. I
Correct.
thought it was my civic
Correct.
duty.
I was there on the 5th. It was my civic duty to protest and to be able to say, you know what, I support my president. And we are not interested in any negative sort of rhetoric towards the people that really support and love this country. But one thing I didn't do was I didn't go to the Capitol on January 6th. I was there the 4th, I was there the 5th, and all we were doing was fellowshipping. It was a beautiful few days of fellowship. We got together. You know, you saw the likes of Bryson Gray. He's a conservative rapper that was there. You saw the likes of Roger Stone. You know, you saw Forgiato Blow, you know, another musician. And it was incredible because when I got to see these individuals, these were people that were fearless to support their president. And they were fearless to show the rest of the world that they wanted to be civically responsible and civically, active. Then on January 6th, we were all supposed to get together and go to the speech that Donald Trump was having. And I woke up late. And because I woke up late, I didn't go. So then I wake up late, my alarm doesn't go off properly. I look at my phone, and when I look at my phone, I see nothing but news outlets stating that there's a riot at the Capitol. And I'm like, holy crap, I'm glad I'm not there. Come to find out, and I'll just tell you from that perspective, and then we'll get to the present, but I didn't attend the Capitol. I just kept watching the riot, or whatever the hell they want to call it, on my phone. Then I walk out of my hotel. I think I went to go get some lunch, and I see a young man walking past me with a MAGA hat and an American shirt, and he looked very scruffy. He didn't look like your average Republican. Yeah. Now, I know it's bad to judge individuals by their appearance, but we all know liberals have a look, right? We all know Republicans have a look, right? Everyone has a look. Sure. So when I saw this individual, I found it so interesting that it looked like a liberal in disguise. So I asked the young man, and I said, you know, what are you doing out here? He was like, well, I'm doing hopefully the same thing you're doing. You know, we got paid really well to do this. And I said, what? And he was like, yeah, you didn't get paid? I'm like, no, but that's very interesting that you said that. Come to find out, now we can fast forward to today's day and age. Nancy Pelosi understood that there were people being sent in the Capitol to undermine Donald Trump. There were people being sent to the Capitol to wear MAGA memorabilia, MAGA hats and clothing and American flags. And they were sent there specifically to make MAGA Republicans look violent and like extremists. And when President Donald J. Trump offered to deploy the National Guard on January 6th, Nancy Pelosi said no. She refused. Now, I find that so interesting because if she was interested in preserving what we like to call democracy, what I like to call our republic, if she was so interested in preserving it, why wouldn't she heighten security and give that renowned and coveted building the best form of security possible, which is the United States military?
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because Nancy Pelosi had direct knowledge of an influx of individuals that were going to go to the Capitol. No one knows the true intentions. No one knows if it was liberals dressed as MAGAs or MAGAs mixed with liberals. What I do know is that there was prior knowledge, and there were individuals that day at the Capitol that were not being violent. I saw actual footage myself. I saw the footage myself of police officers, Capitol police officers, walking individuals through the Capitol on a tour, like a museum.
Including the famous shaman.
Correct. They said, right here, this is this room, and this is this room, like as if you were walking through the Museum of Natural History.
No, absolutely.
You have a protest when the actual police force of the local community was ushering people throughout the building in an orderly fashion. It obviously was not a riot. It was staged, and it's sad because the mainstream media took this, chewed it up, and they created this narrative where on my last, appearance on CUNY, it was unfortunate because there was an assemblyman who swore that democracy was almost destroyed. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
the tour during a tour of our capital, it was destroyed. It's sad, but I think the truth is going to come out very soon.
Listen, the man confused Andrew Jackson and
And John,
Andrew Johnson. Yeah, two presidents. There are both glorious presidents. One was the one on the guy on the $20 bill who was remain who's in history for for his treatment of the American Indians, Native Americans, and the other one. Sorry, Andrew Johnson was famous for the period of giving the black population of the South after the Civil War. He became president after Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. Sorry, assassinated. Yeah, so he became a president then, and he was running the restoration, reconstruction of the South. So it was. Not flawless, but what you can expect. You cannot expect the Civil War to turn fast, so everybody would be happy. It's not a Disney production. But I want to put some very unappetizing detail on the events of the January 6th, 2021. It was if you think about it, just not too much, don't overthink it, but just a little bit. All the famous Mr. John toilets that are put usually in strategic positions when a large group of people is expected, they were all removed. There was not a single toilet. To go to the toilet, you have to walk a mile to the Union Station, to the train station by the Capitol. And you have to go through that. And there was a lot of hawkers. They were selling stuff. There were impersonators and this and that, but not a single toilet. Everybody, all the professors who came, all the plumbers who came, all the car repair people, all the whoever was there, they had all to go and somewhere by the museum of the Department of Justice or someplace relieve themselves. And this is how this comes to mind. This is like the writer. You have an event, you expect so many people to come, you have to provide this and this and this and this and let in this and this and this and this, so people would have a chance to get a snack, they would go to the toilet. I'm sorry about bringing this up, but just the fact there was not a single toilet and not too many cops. Generally, when Joe Biden came recently to New York City, I was on York Avenue where all the hospitals are. It was just squeaky clean. Every 6 feet there was a cop.
Yeah, it looked
sharp,
like
fresh, white shirt, white pants up to here, all good, standing, protecting citizens. So we can do it.
We can. We're capable.
We apply ourselves. We have the resources. We have the rules. We have everything. It's just the occasion that matters, and obviously those at the top who give this orders to perform this or not perform that. And January 6th has so many fingerprints on it. It's hard to kind of, you need a special kind of, I wouldn't say prosecutor, but a special kind of person with the attention. So to show the lay of the land and where it came from. How come don't they have the plan with all those huge locks? When we saw the shots from inside with doors open, magnetic locks, huge locks, they have a contingency plan if somebody wants to storm the Capitol. They have plans for everything.
Of course.
But somehow they decided to open it up. Okay. That's a very dark page of American history, and we live to tell the stories. What can I tell you? So, listen, so many things to discuss with you. What do you think would be the playbook for the Democrats going on? Would they remove Joe Biden? Yesterday, I said that no. I gave him less than a week to step off get out of the game. But yesterday I listened to him. I realized that his only argument could not be just his family, because forcing him to remain. As they say, Dr. Jill and Hunter, just don't leave us. You are the president. Just be where you are. I just thought the whole machine that was used in 2020 is already fine-tuned to his personality. So it's hard to change when they start convincing their side that Kamala Harris is better than him, or which, as I call her, Witchmer. From Michigan is a better candidate, or even Gavin Newsom himself, the nephew, is a better candidate than Joe Biden, then some people may disagree, and it's too dangerous. That could bring some imbalance to the Democrat politics. What do you think? What would be their way forward? Because Joe Biden he cannot stay, he cannot go.
Well, I see it as simple as this. The Democrats don't have many options. But if they do have a decision that they have to make, and the decision is simple, they have to make sure that whoever it is that they choose is, let's just say, competent. And there is no one.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no one who is competent enough on the left to be able to facilitate the responsibility of taking on the strongest and the most important country on the world.
That's right.
Now, what I can say is this, though. Since they have no one, since they have no option, the Democrats are going to do something that we've always seen them do. They're going to eat themselves. They're going to try everything in their power to get Joe Biden out of that chair, only because they know that with him in that seat, they are not going to win the election. So they're going to do everything in their power to try to get him out. And unfortunately, like you said, it's too late. They should have been looking for significant candidates and sufficient replacements for him for a long time now, but there isn't. And now they're going to have to go ahead and support someone not only is ridiculously incompetent, that lacks even the necessary ability to have a decent conversation, but they're going to have to deal with someone who's suffering from a mental health illness.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to do it gracefully so that they don't show how indecent they are, because that's how the Democrats operate. They're an indecent party. They have no respect, not even for their constituents, and they definitely have no respect for their leadership. So they understand how much his health is declining. They understand that he's babbling, he's mumbling, he's falling everywhere. And they know that there's no option. But they're going to have to support him. And if the Democrats say who they truly are, if they say that they are truly the party of the people, then it's going to be their job and responsibility to support someone that is not ready for the job. And I would love to see this take place.
Yeah. You've God forbid I were a Democrat. You know what I'd be talking about as a Democrat?
What?
Just to play the situation out.
Yeah,
I would be saying, guys, let's roll with the punches. We have no good policy. We have no good candidates today. Our economy, let's face it, nobody likes it except Joe Biden. Nobody likes our economy. And maybe some people that we never hear from, basically. Yeah. So let's give up this time. Let's give this term to Donald Trump. Let us see what he can do. There are two outcomes with him. Either he loses the situation strategically in these 4 years and destroys his name. I'm a Democrat, remember, right? Or he wins. And we get 4 years to find a good candidate, a person who can articulate, who is not like Obama. They had Obama, but Obama was good at articulation, not very good at doing something for the country. No, he did a lot of stuff that was not good for the country. So he was good at it. And people tell me, what are you saying? Why are you saying he was bad? He was good at what he wanted to do. He wanted to achieve this, and he achieved that. And he lost his reputation along the way, by the way.
Correct.
But just rebuild your country, rebuild your country, rebuild your party, rebuild your policy. Find good people, young people, energetic people, articulate people, interesting people.
That's right.
And then you come in 4 years, please. In 4 years, we have a next election cycle will be upon us, and you will, if you did your homework, you won. You win. That's it.
That's
So
right.
this is now. It's time to
But it's unfortunate.
remove the mask.
Unfortunate, because if you think about it, right,
Yeah.
the Democrats only lead through their social issues. They never lead through policy.
Yeah.
So every time you see an elected official, it's either because they're black, it's either because they're part of the LGBT community, or it's either because they're a woman. It's never because they're intelligent. It's never because they have the whole country's best interest at heart. It's never because whatever individual that is being supported by the Democratic Party has a nationalistic approach. I think the United States for America has reached the point where we deserve to become at least 15% nationalistic.
Yeah.
We deserve to become nationals. We deserve to be led by patriots, by individuals who love this country, that want to see the country succeed, and not just one party. Because this republic is both for Republicans and Democrats.
Yeah.
And when the Dixiecrats started, they only started because they wanted to maintain slavery. They needed to find a way to support their thoughts in government, because their thoughts and their resources were not being supported, especially with Abraham Lincoln and things of that nature. So when these things were happening, the Republicans understood their role. The Republicans understood that it was their responsibility to find a way to create a society that was fair for everyone. That's why the first 150 Republicans were all black men.
Yeah. You ever heard of the Tecumseh curse?
No, please inform me.
A friend of mine, he wrote a book. He writes books in Russian. Alexei Orlov. He had his birthday 2 days ago. He turned 86.
Wow.
He's here for a long, long time, and he's a brilliant writer. And he
Yeah.
writes about America in Russian. And the Tecumseh curse was translated into English, by the way, and it's available on Amazon too. So he's a brilliant guy, and we sat and had a few shots together the other day, and he wrote this book about the great Indian chief, Native American chief, just to be sure. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. By name of Tecumseh. He was so recognized as such a great person that General William Tecumseh Sherman was his middle name was after this Indian chief of the tribe. So when he passed away, he whispered something into his brother's ear, who was a shaman. And and it's official thing. You can go to the Tecumseh curse. You can check it out. Not necessarily with this book, but as a fact. So he said, and then his brother shaman said, what he told me, and he passed away. And what he told me, he said that every big boss, big chief, meaning president of the United States, if he was elected in multiples of 20 by year, he will not finish his term in the office. So, and the examples are, of course, Abraham Lincoln, 1860, and then John Kennedy. I was just speaking extemporaneously, just thought that came to my mind.
Yeah.
Right now, and there was the assassination attempt on Ronald Reagan. So he escaped this. There was an assassination attempt on George Bush Jr. in Tbilisi. There was a hand grenade thrown at him. He survived, and now we have a president elected in 2020. and it looks like the curse is still, doesn't need the battery change. Still running on old batteries, old Tecumseh batteries.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I can say about at this point about the presidency. And it's not necessarily death. It's just not finishing the term, not
Yeah.
finishing the 4 years in the office.
Yeah. And not only just not finishing the term, but not being able to accomplish anything meaningful for the nation. You know what I mean? And I think that's what the curse kind of embodies, right? They obviously took on the responsibility to lead this country to some sort of prominence. But if you're not able to finish a term, that means that you weren't able to do your job properly. And it's no one's fault but the fault of the candidate.
Yeah.
There are risks and there are rewards with taking the seat in the position of becoming the president of the United States. And we're all aware of them. President Trump understood them, and you can only imagine how many attempts have been made on President Trump's life. It's very unfortunate. I know a lot of them, and
Not from mainstream media, though, right?
oh no, mainstream media would never tell you. Mainstream media would never tell you the attempts on Donald Trump's life, like at the Mandalay Bay or anything like that. But it's unfortunate because only the individuals who are interested in making an actual change for good are the ones that seem to be getting removed before their time.
Yeah, it's just like history history buff stuff about the Tecumseh is just something that I thought I would mention. But it's interesting. In the morning today, I usually read, translate into Russian some news in the media, and read between the lines why it's there, why it's on Drudge Report, say, or on the front page of the New York Times, or why Daily Mail, a British tabloid, is so filled with information. I recently discovered why they're so good, because they have this system of the betting system there in England. They bet on everything, and more openly than here. So
Yes.
Daily Mail supplies information for the bettors.
Yep.
But yeah, so what I wanted to say, that they say that 63%, I think, of Americans, the Pew Research Center discovered 63% of Americans are ashamed of both Joe Biden and Donald Trump being candidates for the parties for the seat of the position of the next president of the United States. And I looked at it and I thought, listen, there were 4 years, 3.5 years of attacks, more than 3.5 years. Attacks on Donald Trump started before he became president, right?
Correct.
Attempts on not on his life, as you mentioned, but on his reputation, they never subsided. There were always high pressure on him, trying to defame him, and nothing worked. I'm sounding something like Joe Biden now. Nothing worked. Nothing stuck to him. And Joe Biden had 3.5 years at last to repair his reputation. The whole apparatus of his was at his disposal to bring him up to like the sanctity level, to beautify him, beatify him, to almost, right?
Yeah. They
And
dropped.
he could not use it. He could not fix it. He's beyond repair.
Correct.
He has to go. And Donald Trump, wow. Look at his popularity. Nothing of the cases that your counterpart mentioned in this conversation. Nothing stuck.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate because when you look at society as a whole, we usually go for the champion, right? We usually go for the winner. Unless you're a Jets fan, you always go for the winner. You put your money on the winner, right? Betting is widely renowned. You just mentioned it. Everybody wants to support the winner. I believe that we are I used to call it the twilight zone, that we're in a society, in a moment in history right now, where everyone, especially the mainstream media, wants people to support a loser.
That's right.
And it's so interesting because my whole life I've never been a loser. I've always been a winner. I've been a leader. Everywhere that I've gone, I've led. I've made a change. I've made a positive impact. And I think we all do that in our own respective ways. So where does our government or the Democrats as a whole, I would love to understand, what are they trying to accomplish by getting society to support a loser? Because Donald Trump has been a winner way before he decided to become president.
That's
Donald
right.
Trump has been a winner his entire life. He was winning since he went to a military academy when he was a young boy. He's been winning. And if we want this country to succeed, we want this country to move forward, we have to pick a winner. Joe Biden has been losing since he advocated for the super crime bill, where one time in history he called people that look like me a super predator.
Mm-hmm.
I find that so interesting because having the same voice to call hardworking New Yorkers super predators and then saying something like, if you don't vote for me, then you ain't black, sounds very paradoxical.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like a huge paradox. So not only are the Democrats expecting us to vote for a loser, but they want us to vote for a loser, but they also want us to vote for somebody who has no respect. He has no respect for his constituents, and unfortunately, he doesn't have any respect for a certain demographic that makes up his constituents. So if he doesn't have respect for a demographic, he doesn't have a respect for his constituents, he doesn't win at anything. He doesn't do anything successful. Why is it that they are advocating, for his leadership? It's as if the Democrats are trying to peer pressure us into taking the most detrimental drug an American citizen could ever consume. And while we say, no, we're okay, they're like, well, you're obviously mentally wrong because you don't want to take this destructive drug that is the Democratic ideology and accepting Joe Biden as president.
Yeah. After so many years of Democrats in power in New York, especially, there is no progress in racial connections, in racial problems, in related. You know, the plantation is kept by the key to the plantation is firmly in Democrats' hands, and they don't want anybody out.
That's right. And you know what's so interesting?
Mm-hmm.
I personally can say this is the first time in history. I'm only 33 years old, so I can't say much. But this is the first time in history where I've socially seen individuals from different cultures, different races, coming together and despising their government.
That's right.
If Democrats were ever interested in starting a civil war, they're going to have a rude awakening. Because the only thing that's going to happen is that somehow the intelligent Democrats and the able-bodied Republicans are going to come together and they're going to consume the government. Because once the government becomes incompetent, it doesn't matter what side of the aisle that you're on, it needs to be removed. It needs to be removed wholeheartedly. And I've been seeing currently in today's day and age, men from an era that I was not a part of, men who are 40 and 50 years old, my elders in my community, telling me they've been lifelong Democrats. They never supported Trump, but they hate the leadership that this country currently has right now. And just that alone, just the present level of incompetence is enough to cause them to choose to align with Republicans. And that's unfortunate because, like you said, the key to that plantation has been held by the Democrats for a long time. But now, not only is the left losing their stronghold, but you could also say the right is losing their base. Because the right, the old guard, the rhinos, The Republicans in name only no longer have a stronghold on the Democratic Party. Excuse me, on the Republican Party. Look at me. I am personally the most interesting Republican right now besides Donald J. Trump. And I don't look like your average Republican individual. But I understand where the Republican Party started. I understand where it's headed. And I understand that true leadership does not have color. True leadership has intention, it has policy, it has courage, and it has resiliency. And all of those specific qualities are qualities that President Donald J. Trump has embodied since before he stepped into office, even up until this day.
Thank you for these words, Adam. I only want to add that because of the internet, because of the modern technologies, we all got some superpowers. We can reach out to the farthest corners of the world and ask people what they think, and they will tell you from the farthest corners of the world what they think about you. And I cannot tell you enough how many people want to see Donald J. Trump come back as number 47 president of the United States, all over, in Russia, in Ukraine, in France, in Spain. I get letters from everywhere, wherever people are listening to this program, which is not a very huge program in terms of sensationalism, but people are interested in conversation between each other, and they find kind of a kindred spirit here, and I'm happy about it. But people want all over the world. Just Americans is one thing, but the rest of the world, because Americans care a lot about what the world thinks of us, right? But so they want Donald Trump. They don't want. Nobody wants Joe Biden.
Nobody. He's what we call the common denominator.
Yeah.
And he's uniting everyone on all fronts, just because of his competence. I look forward to being able to one day visit Russia and speak with individuals who saw this program today and hear their perspective, because I think we're in a pivotal moment in history, and I would love to hear what our brothers and sisters in Russia have to say about it.
You can have a little bit of practice coming to Shipstead Bay, which is now the reddest area in New York, in the state of New York. I mean, not the state, in 5 boroughs.
Yes.
Sorry. Sorry, Rochester. Sorry, I didn't want to insult you. You're redder. But
Yes.
where we live is the reddest, and it's getting redder. Adam, thank you so very much. Adam Solis was with us, the gentleman who spoke at the rally in the Bronx, Donald Trump's rally, and who's firmly in his camp. And we're willing so much for this to happen in November 5th, so the country would right the ship of the United States, and we go as planned to our destination, and whatever the obstacles would be on this trip, we will overcome it.
Absolutely.
Adam, thank you very much.
Thank you for being a patriot.
Thank you.